So this is the deck that I run in real life, Thunder Family. This is a deck profile of what I run and why I run it. First we start off with 3 Mahunders, 3 Pawhunders, 2 Sishunders, 2 Violon Prism, 3 Thunder Seahorse, 2 Thunder King Ryo, Honest, 2 Trigodias, 2 Effect Veilers, that's it for the monsters, 2 Recycling Batteries, 3 Mystical Space Typhoons, 2 Forbidden Lance, 2 Duality, Darkhole Heavy Storm Monster Reborn. I'll round out the spells. And for the traps, which is completely different from every other player that I see, I run 3 Threatening Roars, 2 Bottomless, 1 Mirror Force, and the Solemn Duo. For the extra deck, I run Abyss Dweller, Gagaga Cowboy, Maestroke, Pappy, Triple Paladynamo, the Sigma, Shockmaster, Utopia, Black Ship of Corn, Thunder Spark Dragon, Crimson Blader, Scrap Dragon, and Stardust Dragon. For my side deck, granted I don't have all that many side deck cards available to me since I just got back into the real life game a couple of months ago, and obviously my locals aren't going to be as extensive as a regional or a YCS, but I run Scrap Scarecrow, 2 Maxis, a second Shockmaster, Dust Tornado, Mind Crush, Zinzenhu, 2 Gozen Matches, 2 Shadow Mirrors, 3 Macrocosmos, and a Return from a Different Dimension. Now, I don't run Battery Man AAA because A, I don't have them, B, tested on DevPro, didn't think they really did anything, they're kind of slow. There was one game where I just opened all 3 of them in the hand. It's too slow. My first one play is set 1. Woohoo! Obviously, you're probably wondering why I run Trag when Ophion's running around. That's because when he's not running around, Trag is amazing for this deck. That's not to say I wouldn't consider cutting it, but as of right now, he's insane. I personally rather run Veilers over Fiendish Chains any day, because they can't be MST'd. And obviously I side them out for Macrocosmos. I love Honest. It's like, it's a light-based deck. Makes sense. I main the Thunder Kings because at my locals there were Prophecy players before Judgment Day. Don't know why, but shuts them down. It's an all-around a good card. If your opening hand consists of one of these and a Thunder King, I don't search Sishunder, I just use that as my normal. And if I don't open this and I open that, I search Sishunders, get this back to hand, and continue from there. You'd be stupid not to run this, because that wins you games, gives you a free pop, and is incredible next format. And the others. And that's why you play the deck, obviously. If you didn't run these, then it's not this deck. I never tested it with Watts, didn't feel the need to, because the deck already does things, besides attacking very small. But whatever, if you want to run Watts, run Watts. I'm not going to stop you. How can I stop you? And for the spells, I only run 2 batteries because there's always one round at locals where I will open every single copy of these that I have, and it would have been game 3 that was really crucial for me getting my entry fee back. and I don't like that happening, so I cut one. I'm too afraid to cut it down to 1, because this is your power card game 1. Pot of Dualities, because it's insanely broken with a Sishunter, or a Seahorse opening, plus Seahorse into Sishunter, play Pot of Duality, get some protection, is too good. 3 MST because this deck hates back row, as you can see, no Constellar Omega for another week. Even then, I'd still run all 3. 2 Forbidden Lance. It makes Sishunter crash with anything that's 17 or lower, and obviously you want to protect any of your black and white cards that come out. Because, yeah. I run Thunderspark Dragon because it doesn't need to get to the battle phase to actually do something, like Violon to Sigma and other 3 monster rank 4s. Everyone at locals wonders why I run it, but because any one of your black cards, they get Veilered, they do nothing. But Violon to Sigma only takes 1 attack position monster, and it still needs to attack to do anything with that. This just, destroys everything on the field. It's a second Dark Hole, which actually came up when I faced a Inzektor XY or ZW Utopia deck. It's immune to being targeted and destroyed once for each one of those things are attached. I mean, Dark Hole, then this, it got off the field. This I'm planning on cutting for an Omega. That will probably be cut for an Omega, though I'm not too thrilled about that. I love Starliege Paladynamo. It's either a Utopia or a third one of this for the second Omega, but I feel all of this is absolutely necessary. Whenever I face anything that Shockmaster is really good against, I always take this out for it. And it should explain the extra deck. Along with the spells, because skipping traps is the new meta when doing deck profiles. Trendsetter. But yeah, for the traps, I want to cut this, but I don't know for what. It's too much life point paying. Game's too fast to just pay 2,000 for them to still put monsters on the board. This protects you on your turn, which is why you don't drop it. You always run this. 1 Mirror Force because people like to attack with everything for whatever reason. That's probably my second favorite trap right now, is Bottomless. Just banish problems like Garunix. That's a thing you definitely don't want to have to deal with, because that is a horrible matchup. And the best card in the format, and formats to come, Threatening Roar. It says, you're not losing this turn, and it's chainable. What else do you need from a trap? That's what they do. They help you not lose. And it does it the best. So that's the explanation of the main and the extra deck, but now for the weird side deck. Some of these choices are going to be specifically to what I've played at my meta. Some of these are from what other people have tested to be tried and true. And other things are just good cards for the deck. Heretics at locals. I didn't like losing to them, and I kind of wish I played more of these. Anything Veiler doesn't hurt, but this will let you stay in the game. It's pretty obvious. Because Violon to Sigma, I like having the option of it being in the main, but it's definitely not something you go into every day or every month even. I mean, it's like a once per year kind of card, but the one time you absolutely need it, you're going to wish you had it. But for the most times, a first turn Shockmaster, or first game Shockmaster is stupid anyway, unless you know what you're playing. Which is why I don't main 2. That's just dumb. That just says, hey, I'm going to make a Shockmaster, I'm going to go balls in, and I'm going to call wrong, you're going to get it off the field, but then I'm going to be able to make a second one because it's there. Which I don't like that. This is a game 2 and 3 card, people. Dust Tornado, because I personally have bad Rabbit matchups and Fire Fist matchups, historically. For Megalo and Priestess, even though Priestess went down in playability, but it's probably going to go back up next time I go. And I only have one copy, or probably have more. More Rabbit and general back row hate. Wind-up hate, because this one kid always plays wind-ups there. But I always beat him without that card. It always gets MST'd. Because I am so afraid of running into Dark Worlds, Insectors, anything dark related. I always have those there, but I don't think I've ever flipped that on the board and it do something. But then again, that's its job, to prevent them from doing things. Probably another reason why this deck can be so competitive as it is because it can main, or side deck, and potentially main, a whole bunch of common side deck cards that other decks go into. And I don't know how many times I play someone at locals for the first time, and they don't know what the side deck against this card because it's not popular, and they don't do their research, and they just put in Macrocosmos, D-Fissures, goes in matches, and I even had someone put an area level limit switch rank level 4s into defense mode. I'm like, what is that doing against this deck? Please side that out for game 3. I want a challenge. And probably the weirdest card in all of the side deck is this, but like I said, I'm very limited in my options, and I almost always side in all 3 Macrocosmos, no matter what the matchup is. Very rarely do they not go in, and you'd think statistically with 3 Macrocosmos you'd draw it before this, but the one time I ever sided in all 4 of these and drew this, it was before any of these 3. And after I drew this, all I kept drawing was this, and I had nothing on the board or in hand. So I'm like, great, I lost this round. But yeah, that's the deck. I can't wait for this to actually do something, or I get to replace it with something that will. But until then, you know how it is. This game costs money. That is the wrong